What is going on, my Houston Texans family? Hope you all are having a blessed Thursday. Hey, the NFL trade deadline comes to an end today. I believe we're about 5.5 hours from the deadline. With that being said, the big question of the day, are the Houston Texans going to be buyers or going to be sellers? I think it's very interesting when you look at where this team is at a 3-5 record with CJ Stroud potentially not playing on Sunday against Jacksonville. And if you lose that game and you fall to 3-6, I mean, the conversations will have to be had about washing your hands with this season and start fighting for a high draft pick. It's absolutely insane that I'm talking this way in the D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud era, which is why we have to have these conversations because something has to give. It feels like this team has hit its ceiling with the players on the field and the people in charge. We're going to continue this conversation, but this episode is brought to you and powered by Sleeper. The NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Football has never been more exciting than it is now with players like CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson. Pick on stats for these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to a 1,000 times play out on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win big. Use promo code 713HOU and you get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. Sleeper is also giving you a free $20 entry, no deposit needed. Code 713HOU. Now, this is a fun conversation to have because it is happening amongst the fans. It is happening in my Discord. If you want to be in my Houston Texans Discord, let me know in the comments down below and I'll personally send you the invite. But the Houston Texans, if they potentially fall to 3-6, I cannot believe they're favored against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I really do think Davis Mills is going to be starting quarterback against Trevor Lawrence. So I don't see a scenario where the Houston Texans can win a football game with Davis Mills at QB. We saw how bad it was against the Denver Broncos. The NFL trade deadline is today, ladies and gentlemen. And should the Texans be buyers? Should they be sellers? Let's have it, right? Let's hear both sides of the argument. Why should they be sellers? Because, like I said in the intro, it feels like this team has hit a ceiling with either the players on the field or the people in charge. What could you potentially add to this offense that could give it a boost? Well, one guy that we've been complaining about the last 2 years and asking for, running back Brees Hall from the New York Jets, is we are hearing that they want at least a third round pick. I don't know about going that high because I know I have to extend him. But Brees Hall would immediately give this offense a boost. And, you need a game changing player on offense. I'm sorry, you need another one. Right now, Nico Collins and CJ Stroud is not getting it done for you. So add in Brees Hall, who could do it on the ground, do it in the air, pass protect as well. We would all feel better about this offense, not only going forward for this season, but for the future as well. Another area where you could improve that could potentially help this team, getting a left guard. The Lakin Thomas and Juice Scruggs rotation, it's getting laughable at this point. And, there are multiple veteran guards out there who I think the Houston Texans could be potentially looking at, right? We've looked at some guards from the Cleveland Browns the last few years. We've done business with them the last few years. So why not take an opportunity to, rekindle an old friendship and make some magic happen? And if you add a veteran left guard who not only does it shore up the left guard spot, but that helps your rookie left tackle who, just think how hard it is for Ariante Ursary to get into a rhythm when he doesn't know, who's going to be his left guard on the next drive. That's what I'm saying. This left guard rotation of Juice Scruggs and Lakin Tomlinson hasn't worked out. Is laughable at this point. You talk about adding another tight end. We've talked about adding guys like David Njoku from the Cleveland Browns. We've talked about him for a number of years now. Those could be moves, right? Bringing in running backs, not named Brees Hall, right? Bringing tight ends, not named David Njoku, but bringing in guys where you need area of help. Should they be sellers? You look at Danielle Hunter. What maximum value does he have? What could he get you? We are seeing pass rushers right now at an all-time need. I wonder if the Texans are hearing calls on number 55. On number 55, I love him, but man, has been a no-show the last couple of games. Going back to my conversation about the players on the field, the people in charge. If this season doesn't go the way it needs to, and to be honest with you, it looks like that because of this offense. This offense is the reason why you have a lot of fans saying, be sellers, wipe your hands with this season because it's really losing you football games. This is one of the worst offenses in the league. It indeed got worse than last year with Bobby Slowick. This is one of the worst Houston Texans offenses, honestly, I've ever seen. It is as consistent as they come. I don't know if they're scoring 0, 15, or 50. Most of the time, it's 0. But because you don't want to give up on this season, because you see how great this defense is, and this defense has won you football games this year, will always keep you in football games this season, and all you really need from your offense is more than 17 points. I'm also bringing up this conversation because I really don't think CJ Stroud's going to go against Jacksonville. And do we have any faith that Davis Mills could win that matchup? Right? CJ couldn't even beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville. Why should we have faith that Davis Mills can defend our home? At potentially, at potentially 3-6. You have to start looking at where you are in terms of right the tankathon. Currently, the Houston Texans are the 13th overall pick at 3-5. They also have the early draft pick from the Washington Commanders. So when you're talking about if this season goes bad, you might be heading into the 2026 offseason. You will be needing a new offensive coordinator because Nick Cage is just not getting it done for you. But you'll have all the assets in the world to potentially rebuild your offense. High draft picks in every round, the one you got from Washington, and plus, and hopefully, you get an experienced play caller. Fans have been asking for Mike McDaniel, including myself, the last 2 years. One name that has been coming real intriguing to me is Zach Taylor, the head coach from the Cincinnati Bengals. What's good about the Bengals is that offense, that high-powered offense, but what don't they have? A defense. What haven't they had the last 2 years? A defense, right? It's the D'Amico Ryan situation, just flipped vice versa. We have the defense here. Zach Taylor, get over here, take control of this offense, make it high flying, and let's see some fireworks. So those are two names that I really like right off the bat. But that's if this season, just continues going the way it does. Which is why when you look at these NFL trade deadline, you have to ask yourself, do I want this team to try to salvage their season or try to see them figure it out within themselves? Do I have faith that they can do that? No, I don't. The honeymoon phase is over. Next year will be year 4. The trinity of CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryans, Nick Caley. One of those seats will be hot if this Texan season just continues to go the way it goes. When you were having conversations about paying CJ, paying Will Anderson Jr., it starts with decisions like today. Ladies and gentlemen, I really don't know what the Houston Texans are going to do as the NFL trade deadline is coming to a close. Are they going to make moves or are they just going to stay put and try to figure it out and thug it out. With that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Should the Houston Texans be buyers or sellers? Episode brought to you and powered by Sleeper. Free $20 entry. No deposit needed. Code 713HOU. I love y'all. Have a blessed day.